is season 2, episode 45, aka the Bob Gibson Show.
Yes. Also, as a Patriots fan, Otis, my man Smith.
Yeah. Okay. Might have been a bit of a stretch for the plug I'm about to do.
Anyway, yeah, Bob Gibson. Yeah. Go back to him. My first draft pick, if you can let me pick every player in MLB history, you give me any player, first pick, taking Bob Gibson.
All right. Yeah, you've been very consistent on that. And not just a baseball Hall of Famer. We're going to talk a lot more about the Baseball Hall of Fame later. He's also someone you can vote for on something that Evan and I have co-created along with quite a few other people, with Olympians, a former NFL player that we have hold in high regard. Lots of great people. It's the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. No one's come up with it. Amazing. We did. Check it out.
Yeah. And we have a trademark on it.
That's right. That's right. Which reminds me, I got to pay my half. It took a while for me to get everything. I guess they were in Europe or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Nobody cares about that. You can vote on this notinhalloffame.com/USA. For most of you, that should be easy. That's likely the country you might live in, so you should be able to remember that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I would think so. We normally have a whole lot of things that we do, but not today. We're not going to be doing elevator up, elevator down, although I kind of am indirectly. We probably won't be doing the good, the bad, and the ugly of sports of the week because we've got lots and lots and lots of halls of fame to talk about. We've got 4.
I do have to say the good and the bad and the ugly. One thing I just want to say in passing.
Yeah.
Do you see what happened to the Seattle Sounders in the MLS playoffs last night?
Nope.
They lost a playoff game. So Seattle Sounders were the best team in the Western Conference for most of the year. They ended up finishing second, so they had to play a first-round playoff game because in the MLS, 14 teams make it, 7 each conference. First place team gets a bye, right? So Sounders had to play Real Salt Lake yesterday, and they lost the playoff game in which the other team attempted 0 shots on goal.
That's, I think, why there's a lot of people who just can't get into soccer.
0 shots on goal. Seattle had 21 shots on at least attempts at goal. They didn't all hit goal. At least had 21 attempts at goal. Real Salt Lake had 0 and 1 in a penalty shootout after 120 minutes of not taking a shot in the net.
You know, that's like somebody being sentenced to death by a firing squad and they all miss. And then for some reason, the last bullet just ricochets back and then kills all the firing squad.
Yeah. It's actually, did you ever watch The Whitest Kids You Know?
No.
Okay. They have, if you haven't had,
I live it.
Yeah, I know. Here's your homework. Go look up the firing squad sketch from The Whitest Kids You Know.
Okay.
It's very much worth it.
Okay.
So I won't even ruin it. Other than there's one guy trying to convince 3 guys to shoot at one guy. That's all I'm going to say. It's hilarious. Anyway, continue.
Well, should we just get right to it? We've got I think the main event is the Football Hall of Fame today, as we've reported this, has announced the semi-finalists. And I quickly took to Twitter and said, they copied us. Not with who they picked, but
certainly not with who they picked.
No, but they went 26, as did we.
They did.
Yeah. So I guess we should just get into. You can actually see who we picked. It's on our channels. We did our mock football committee, which is, I think, I really like what we do more and more, only because we seem to have rotating people as we go into this, which brings different voices and different opinions. Yeah. Before we went live, Evan and I said that if we were to have predicted this, we probably would have got 23 or 24 out of 26.
Right, because the process that we went through was not the process. We went through the same process as the Hall, but we weren't trying to replicate the Hall. We were trying to replicate what we were. Yeah, we were trying to predict it. We're trying to come up with who we thought it should be. And last year when we attempted this, there were 25 and we had 10 different than they did. This year there were 26 and we had 11 different. So I guess we're consistent.
So, which basically means when we go further, because we're going to do our next round. I haven't picked a day yet because we're also going to be doing a mock baseball hall. That one will have to be before. It'll be sooner than later.
Have to be September, December. Yeah, September, early December, probably.
Yeah. So for that one, we're going to be taking their 26 and our 26, which with overlap, it'll be 37.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as we're concerned, 37 people have gotten through. As far as everyone else listening and who just want us to talk about who actually was in the real Canton, there's 26. So let's get right to it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go by position? Let's go by position. Is that okay?
What? Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, I have everything alphabetical, but if you want to just then do it by, do you have it by position?
I have it by position. Just I think it's interesting.
So all right, so let's do it that way. So no quarterbacks. I don't have to.
Yeah, there are no quarterbacks. We had one on our list for who was Donovan McNabb. Last year we had the other Eagles quarterback of Randall Cunningham, but Donovan was ours. None of them made it this time.
No surprise.
No surprise. Yeah, I mean, it was a fairly weak group of quarterbacks based on the fact that, once again, Mr. Delhomme was a nominee. Drew Bledsoe, 11th all-time in passing, was not, but Jake Delhomme was. So, yeah, there's some people who weren't even nominated who we need to get into at some point here, too. But running backs, we had one, Sean Alexander, who, as you might remember, had won MVP of the league.
Right, but that's our pick, yeah.
That's our pick.
Yeah.
They had three, none of whom ever won MVP of the league. Eddie George, Fred Taylor, and Ricky Waters.
So our first thing we would have probably both predicted Fred Taylor again, not because either you or I think he should be, and it's no disrespect to Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor was a very good running back.
Had 11,000 plus career rushing yards.
Absolutely. But Fred Taylor it's going to be a struggle. But once they pick somebody, and that's really what we're seeing here, we know that they're going to stick very closely to what they've done before. And I think as we move on a little bit closer to, or like further along, especially with wide receivers, there's something that I don't know that's really ever happened before, where we really got a recency bias happening.
Oh yeah, huge recency bias happening.
Yeah.
But going back to the running back, so
yes.
I mean, when you can get a one-time Pro Bowler who never played a really meaningful football game in his entire career, you just got to get him on there. Like my response on our little thing was, well, one of my responses we'll get to. My other response was, they looked at that list of nominees with some great people who did not make the final 26 and thought, this running back class is really, really weak. We need to take three of them and not have any of them be the guy who won the MVP.
Yeah, I think the biggest shock, the other two, well, Ricky Waters isn't that big of a shock.
It's not that big a shock. He's been on the radar before. So
yeah, semifinals 2 years ago. And I like Ricky a lot. Hall of Famer, but a lot more than Fred Taylor. And I think we'll go into more depth into that when we go a little bit further, because I might want to sort of like position Ricky. I'm really thinking about it the more I look at it.
Fair. My problem with Ricky Waters, and this isn't fair to him, is that Roger Craig's not in, and Roger Craig is just a better version of Ricky Waters to me. So
I agree with you.
That's no offense to Ricky Waters. That's not Roger Craig is a better version. So.
I think and I know I'm changing topics here, but that's really how I feel about Billy Wagner more than anything else.
Hey, at least you got Jonathan Papelbon to go up against him. So there you go.
Yeah, so the biggest shock, I think, for everyone involved is Eddie George. And again, another very good running back. But where is this coming from? And I don't quite know.
Nope. I don't have anything.
Yeah, so I don't think any of these guys are getting through to the next round on theirs or ours.
No, I think all three of them are going to not get close to the 15, which begs the question, why are there three? Because there are specifically other positions where there are more people. And just by the way, the people they passed over for this include like Mike, we did Sean Alexander, Mike Allstott, Tiki Barber, Priest Holmes, who's an interesting case. I mean, Lorenzo Neal, we've talked about. If we're ever going to do another fullback, he may be it. And of course, Herschel Walker.
Yep.
Brian Westbrook. Like there's some other good players. Corey Dillon,
Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
Like who are interesting, more interesting candidates to me than Eddie George, who is a super nice guy. And if you're going to include his Ohio State stats, I'm all for it. But I don't believe that counts in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Well,
although who knows? In Ohio State, he may have been semi-pro anyway.
Yeah. Well, if the USFL doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's true. That's the Herschel Walker's thing. So
now we've already got an issue here. It feels like we've been dealing with this for a long time, but now it's the wide receivers, and we've got 7. I can't say that that's a big surprise. I think we all knew going ahead. Anyone who was sort of paying attention to this knew that we were going to have a logjam. And this has been a long time coming. So if you want to rattle off the 7.
Yeah. So the 7 wide receivers we have, and again, I'd actually say it's 6 plus 1. So it's Andre Johnson, Anquan Bolden, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, and then the plus 1 being Devin Hester, who counts, I guess, in that sort of way. So I guess technically 8, because Steve Tasker also technically counts as a wide receiver.
Yeah, but I mean, even on the Pro Football Hall, when they listed it as, which is kind of weird. I mean, they list Devin Hester as a wide receiver in one category, and then they say, well, we've got 2 special teamers.
Yeah.
So like,
well, I mean, they technically they list Tasker as a wide receiver too, because they don't have a special teamer category, which is a whole nother discussion in itself.
Right.
So
but we're right now, and this is where I guess there's a bit of a recency bias somewhat. I'm slightly surprised at Steve Smith.
Well, so Steve Smith fell out of our group, according to the Pro Football Reference and their system they have. Of all the people nominated, he actually has the 6th highest score for the Hall. So he was one of our, he was the person who got the most votes who we didn't put into our group. I'm not that shocked at Steve Smith. I want to know who Hines Ward has pictures of. And what they were doing. And the biggest thing with the recency bias here, though, is there's no Henry Ellard here.
Right. Back with Ward, though, I mean, 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl MVP. So once he hits that semi-finalist a couple times in a row, they're just going to keep putting him there, but he's going to get lapped over and over and over again. And I wasn't joking when I tweeted, or I think in response to Tom Hall. I said, I honestly believe this could be a guy who could be a semifinalist all 20 years of eligibility and never be a finalist.
I mean, it's possible. He's given Julian Edelman hope. Super Bowl MVP, multiple championships, 2nd all time in postseason receiving yards. Now Hines Ward has many more catches in the regular season.
Right.
But I mean, if there's ever an argument for Julian Edelman making at least a semifinalist list, the continued presence of Hines Ward is it. So, and going back to Henry Ellard, who we did, by the way, we didn't have Steve Smith or Hines Ward, or actually we didn't have Hester. Hester was one of our last cuts.
Yeah, Hester, and I'm actually glad. Maybe we should talk about Hester now. That was a hard cut, and I think at the same time, as Jack Silverstein said, if I was there, I probably would have got him through, and he probably would have. At that point, I was so tired.
Oh yeah, it's entirely possible. The end of that was a little bit tiring, but it's entirely possible Hester gets through. But going back to
talk about him in depth, but yeah, please.
Just going back to Henry Ellard for 1 second. Henry Ellard, when he retired, was number 2 in receptions in NFL history. It was Jerry Rice, Henry Ellard. That was the list when he retired. Now, the offenses and the way passing has happened has completely changed since Ellard played.
Right.
Completely different game that Torrey Holt was playing. And what Torrey Holt's playing is completely different than what Andre Johnson was playing. I mean, the amount of contact allowed changed over time. It was a lot harder for Henry Ellard. There's no reason Henry Ellard is not a semifinalist this year. I know we have a lot of wide receivers, but if you switched, I'd feel a lot better about this whole list. This switching out Ward and Ellard.
I would too.
So that's one of the things that bother me.
We knew Ward was going to be somebody that's going to be advancing through. And I feel like we're bashing Hines Ward a lot. And
Well,
I don't even hate the guy.
I am on.
You are. You hate him.
I am on record as saying he's my least favorite NFL player of all time.
Yeah.
So
yes, on many
I
shows.
will own that.
Yeah.
So not my least favorite sports person of all time. That's probably a Pohe, which is the anthropomorphic pile of human excrement who just retired this year from the Milwaukee Brewers. But Heinz Ward is my least. Yeah, I'm not letting that go.
No, don't.
There are very few people in this world I actively despise, and he is. And I mean, there are people who've done much worse things than Ryan Braun, but I'm just
because I'm known for letting things go myself. So
true.
Yeah.
But I mean, but Heinz Ward, it's not even my dislike of him. He just doesn't belong amongst those other group of people. He's just not like. As a Patriots fan, if Julian Edelman were on the spot, I'd be like, what the hell's Julian Edelman doing here?
Who do you think out of the three new wide receivers, Johnson, Bolden, and Smith, has the best chance to advance?
So I was thinking about this. I think that if we go back to what Charles Woodson said last year when they had the wide receivers up and he asked which of the three he'd put in, and he said only one of them was Megatron. And that's why he would have gone for Calvin Johnson. I'm just thinking about it again. So Bolden was one of the great blocking wide receivers of all time. It's not one of those things that shows up, but just absolutely lay hits on people. Smith, it was the heart and soul of pretty much two teams that he was on, right? Both Panthers and Ravens, he was a guy. But the clear, most talented, best guy, if you could draft these three guys, are all available at the same time, who you would take is Andre Johnson.
Yep, I agree.
Now, the question is, we have four people who were finalists last year who are in the between 6 and 10, right? Who didn't make it in. So let's presume all four of them get there. That leaves one open spot. Does one of the wide receivers slip in there? And if it is a wide receiver, is Andre Johnson good enough to jump both Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne, who've been waiting longer? And I don't know if the answer to that is yes.
I think we've almost reached a point now where, and I hate this line of thought, I hate it, but do you need to almost feel like you've got to put in two wide receivers now? I almost feel like you have to.
We've been talking about this online, and the people have been predicting who they think the nominees are, and the Pro Football, I can't think of what the actual handle is. He came out and he went with what his prediction was, which was the most obvious one, which is the four guys and where.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seriously thinking that there is going to be a wide receiver just because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I think Ware's the one who gets bumped over the other four guys who've been waiting.
And that's honestly what I could see happening. I mean, it's because you've got the same people who are on this committee voting. So it's not like they're not aware who's coming up and what's ahead. Yeah. I don't know.
Because the four remaining guys are an offensive lineman, a defensive end, an inside linebacker, and a safety. Mm-hmm. Right. So throwing a wide receiver, are we really going to put Andre Ware, a fourth defensive guy, over a wide receiver? Or is, I mean, because ultimately it may come down, is it Andre Ware or Zach Thomas? Are you putting two linebackers in? Mm-hmm. I don't know. So, but anyway, continuing along, because we got a lot to do here.
Yeah. No tight ends, no shot.
No tight ends. The only one worth talking about on that list to me, I know people talk about Brent Jones, is Ben Coates, because he was on the all-decade team of the 90s. He didn't make it through. I completely understand. So offensive linemen, I don't know what the offensive linemen did to piss people off, but there are only two of them on this list, Baselli and Willie Anderson. Yeah. So Steve Wisniewski and Richmond Webb were on our list. Mm-hmm. We had one running back and four linemen. They have three running backs and two linemen. And both Wisniewski and Webb have much better resumes than any of the running backs.
Yeah, they do. Willie, I mean, once you it shows how their process is, because once you become a semifinalist, it's pretty hard to get knocked out. And this is not to say that Willie Anderson doesn't deserve the spot. He does. But then there's so many other offensive linemen who do also. I'm actually excited to talk more about Willie Anderson in the next round. So I am happy about that. Obviously, Steve Wisniewski. I mean, I'm not even a Raiders guy at all, and now this one bothers me a lot.
Yep.
But
and he's got one more year after this. I think he's got one more, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. Richmond's got some time, and then even some of these other names who I don't even think that they even know they exist. The Browns, Lomas and Rubin.
Yeah. Yeah, and then none of the centers. I mean, we already talked that Nolan wasn't even nominated, which is insane.
Right.
But like Jeff Saturday, Logan Mankins, Matt Burke, Olin Kreutz was a 6-time All-Pro. Like, I mean, and then there are a few others here who aren't even necessarily worth mentioning.
Think about how good Olin Kreutz was, and he's probably the 5th best eligible center.
Yeah, well, we have Mangold, Burke, Saturday, Nolan, who didn't get nominated, and Kreutz. I'd put him above Burke, I think. But the others, I think he's behind. So yeah. But anyway,
I guess we should just switch right now to Baselli. I mean, I think
Baselli's getting in this year.
I think so. I don't see how he doesn't, and if he does get in, I don't know if that helps or does nothing for Fred Taylor.
I don't think it does anything for Fred Taylor. I know they play for the same team, but I think it's a separate thing altogether.
Right.
But I mean, they have actually, for all I'm complaining about the fact that only 2 of them, they have done a good job over the last couple of years clearing out the offensive line backlog.
That's true. That did have a heavier backlog.
That had a huge. I mean, the fact that it took Faneca as long as to get in as it did is insane.
Right.
So getting Baselli in would be good, and then we move on from there. Once Baselli's in, I mean, I don't think there's anyone particularly in Willie Anderson's way. He becomes the top offensive lineman probably at this point. So
yes, because at that point, now that they've slotted him there, in their minds, they're not going to slot somebody ahead of him.
Correct. Plus, there's still the anti-Bengals bias that looks like that. Because I mean, he's the only Bengal up again. Willie Anderson's the only Bengal on this list. So all right,
defensive line. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
Oh yeah, sure. So Jared Allen, Kevin Williams. I'm sorry. Ours were Jared Allen, Kevin Williams, and Richard Seymour. They brought us Bryant Young, who's been a finalist before, Richard Seymour, Robert Mathis, Jared Allen, and surprise for me, the second Patriot on this was Vince Wilfork.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of like we're really seeing that whole recency thing. I wasn't as surprised with Wilfork as I am with Mathis. Not because I don't think that there's a case to be made for Robert Mathis. I do. I just would have thought that maybe we might have seen one of the older ones in this spot. Simeon Rice also is a previous semifinalist. Leslie O'Neal was at one point, and it's very interesting to me. I did not think we'd have 7 first-year eligibles as semifinalists. Not at all.
Agreed with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back, for defensive linemen, I'm trying to think who else we had here. The fact, again, I am the Kevin Williams stan. I never intended to become the Kevin Williams stan, but he is the best player who is not in this semifinalist list.
Yeah, your Kevin Williams is my women's tennis.
Yeah. So I said that Steve Smith was is number 6 on this list. If you're just going to induct the top 5 people according to that metric, it's Zach Thomas, Patrick Willis, Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, Kevin Williams. That would be your class. And he's not even making it to the semifinalist list. That's insane. So I I don't know whose dog he kicked, or as Vinny said, whose cat he forgot to feed. But like, I don't know if I have to go like find Ron Borges and just be like, yo, dude, I know you don't watch Vikings games because you're a crotchety old man, but maybe watch some. Because there's no reason Kevin Williams isn't here. I actually don't have any problem with any of the people here. I think Robert Mathis and Bryant Young are kind of fringe candidates, but Young has been a finalist before. I think Jared Allen, if he had short hair, wouldn't be on this list. But
personality, man, it helps.
Oh, it does. Oh, well, that helps with Wilfork too. I mean, Wilfork was the heart and soul of the Patriots defense that second time around. But just him showing up to Texans camp for the first time, wearing nothing but huge overalls and cowboy boots to his first practice. I mean,
I want him to not have a bust if he ever gets in. I want him to have a full body bronze sculpture wearing that outfit.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. He was a big dude, and still a great guy. And also helps. He's one of the legitimately great guys in football. Like, he still does tons of stuff. He and his wife Bianca for the community, and just a great ambassador. That probably has something to do with it as well. So
I think it has a lot to do with it. It has to.
So out of that group, the only two who are getting through, I think, are Seymour and Allen.
Yeah, because again, once you've gotten to a certain stage, that's where you're going.
Yeah,
it's lather, rinse, repeat. I guess with the linebackers, wasn't just Demarcus. Yeah, Demarcus Ware, Zach Thomas.
Yeah, and Sam Mills. Sam Mills.
Oh, Sam Mills. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and Patrick Willis.
Yeah, no shock at all. If we were to guess who they would have picked, we would have chose those. We had in ours Cornelius Bennett.
Yeah. And our three ones who we're old enough to remember: Cornelius Bennett, Willie McGinnis, and Pat Swilling. Swilling's problem is that Mills is their choice for the second guy from that defense. Ricky Jackson's already in.
Yeah.
They've decided on Mills and his story. Swilling was a better player. I don't know if Mills is ever getting in. And because of that, Swilling's never getting nominated.
This is also his last shot.
This is Swilling's last shot, or Mills? Mills's, yeah. So maybe once Mills is gone, Swilling gets more of a hearing. I don't know. They've completely forgotten the rest of those Buffalo Bills teams. Cornelius Bennett was a hell of a player.
Right.
And real important on that 98 Falcons team that made the Super Bowl as well. And then Willie McGinnis. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan. I was surprised that the only two Pats, because we had more Patriots in our thing than they had here. The only two who got through Seymour and Wilfork. McGinnis is a great player too. I'm not shocked McGinnis isn't here though. So
no, not either. So let's go to the defensive backs.
Yep. So we had 3 cornerbacks and 1 safety. In our group, we did 2 cornerbacks and 2 safeties. There's Darren Woodson, Eric Allen, Rondé Barber, and Leroy Butler. We had Barber and Butler, but we had Rodney Harrison and Peanut Tillman as our other 2.
Can't say that I'm surprised though that Rodney and Tillman were not chosen.
No. I think Eric Allen and Darren Woodson are both very, very good players. I don't think that there's a massive difference between Tillman and Harrison and Woodson and Allen. Like, this doesn't upset me.
Yeah.
As much as I think Rodney Harrison and Tillman both get the short end of the stick, that these guys have been in the semifinalist list before they keep showing up.
I'm far bigger on Rondé than I am with Butler, but we know what the pecking order is right now, and it's Butler next.
Yeah, it's Butler next. Yep.
Yeah.
Would I be shocked if Rondé jumped him? No, I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be surprised. I wouldn't put shocked.
Yeah.
So.
And then with our special teamers, Hester, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah. I mean, Hester, you can make, again, this might be recency bias, but at least recently, Hester is the greatest kick returner of the last 30 years.
And we're never going to see another great one.
No.
No.
So, I mean, if you're going to put somebody in, I mean, you can argue Mel Gray, you can argue White Shoes. I mean, Dante Hall may have his people. I know Josh Cribbs was a semifinal, or it was a nominee this year. But I think it's Hester or nothing pretty much for this position.
Right.
And you can sort of say the same thing with Tasker, except for the fact that at some point, Matt Slater is going to retire.
Mhm.
And that would be a second chance at the same position. So we'll see, but this is Tasker's last year on the ballot as well.
It is. I can see him getting through maybe to the finals. I mean, he could be this year's Clay Matthews.
Agreed. He 100% could be Clay Matthews. So we shall see what happens. But yeah, this is an interesting list. So we had Charles Tillman, Kevin Williams, Cornelius Bennett, Pat Swilling, Willie McGinnis, Richmond Webb, Steve Wisniewski, Donovan McNabb, Sean Alexander, Rodney Harrison, and Henry Ellard. And they replaced them with Darren Woodson, Eric Allen, Bryant Young, Robert Mathis, Vince Wilfork, Devin Hester, Eddie George, Fred Taylor, Ricky Waters, Heinz Ward, and Steve Smith. So I like our list better, but I was part of our list. That's why.
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased myself.
Who's the one who you think is least deserving to be semi-finalist in your opinion?
Eddie George and
yeah,
Bryant Young too. I'm not a huge Bryant Young guy.
I'm not a Bryant Young guy either. Eddie George is there, and I know he's a better player than Eddie George, but Heinz Ward just has zero shot. He's never getting in. Why he keeps appearing, I don't.
Yeah,
I guess because
I'm not that big on Heinz in compared to what we've got available to us.
Yeah,
it's. I can't say it's even all that interesting. It's almost how we thought it would play out. That's where we are with them. And again, there's a lot we love about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think there should be a limit though. And maybe just a 3-year limit for how long people are on a committee at this point.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
And just what you and I do. I mean, how beneficial is that when we had a completely different group?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think there's really something to be said about that.
Yep. So.
Yeah. So
I think it's pretty clear though who the 15 are going to be who are coming out of this list. I don't think there's going to be, because we ended up, so Matthews graduated and we got five other guys out. So that leaves 6 open spots. I'm presuming the 9 guys who are there before are all going to make it.
I presume so too.
It seems pretty clear to me. It's going to be Andre Johnson's going to make it. I think with the open spot, Steve Tasker makes it, at least to the final 15.
DeMarcus Ware, I think, is going to.
DeMarcus Ware was, I can't remember. Was Patrick Willis a finalist last year? I actually accidentally just closed it. I don't think he was.
He was not.
So it wouldn't. I think it's probably Willis getting through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hold on. I have too many spreadsheets open.
I could see Hester squeaking in.
Hester, there's a possibility for Hester.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think this is a really, really good list for Willie Anderson.
It really is. I think when I'm looking at the people who have been, I'm just going to go back and play the elevator up game. Heinz Ward is now by default an elevator down.
Mm-hmm.
He's now even further behind than he was, even though he's theoretically in the same position. Willie Anderson, him returning after what I think a lot of people considered a surprise appearance, is massive for him. And especially, like you said, in a very offensive lineman light group.
There are only 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, so that means there's 15 spots. 11 of these people are going to be cut. 3 of them probably going to be the running backs. Not all these wide receivers are going to make it through. Let's just say there's 7 wide receivers. Let's say 3 make it, maybe 4. So at least 3. Let's cut 3. So that means there are only 5 more cuts that have to be made from this entire group.
Yeah. And they're not going to put Eric Allen through.
Eric Allen's not get through. Not all, like Robert Mathis, Will Fork, I think are probably cuts.
Yeah.
So we haven't even tried, and there's like 2 spots he has to dodge at this point in order to get through. So we'll see. we'll see what happens. I don't think Darren Woodson, well, maybe Darren Woodson gets through, but they have the two defensive backs with Barber and Butler. Actually, this is actually a really good list for both Woodson and Allen, because Barber and Butler are likely to be on the list. One's going to be gone, and they seem to be next.
Mhm.
So,
yeah. So I mean, I think that's sort of like where we're looking here. And our comments aside, congratulations to the 26 men who've made it this far.
100%.
It's an incredible task. It just shows how difficult the Pro Football Hall of Fame is when you've got this group of people and they're not going to let in 21 of them this year.
Yeah. It also makes me realize I have to figure out who the Vikings voter is and just show up at his house with Kevin Williams stats.
We do not have doxing here on this show.
I don't know. I don't know his name. I don't know where he lives.
Okay. Yeah.
I've done none of that. I'm just saying I have to find that out, and I will personally go to his house.
Okay.
With graphs and charts and super glue to make sure he sees it. But other than that,
presentation.
What?
A PowerPoint presentation.
A PowerPoint presentation. Well, yeah, of course. That's the other thing. I mean, you can't just do Excel. You need PowerPoint as well.
Well, yeah. I'm assuming you're an expert in that field also.
Yeah, not as much in Word Perfect though.
Mm.
And I was never that good in that one. So
should we take a look at, I mean, this one's pretty simple, cut and dry. The Baseball Hall of Fame ballot is out.
Yep.
I think we should, I don't know that we're going to necessarily go through a deep dive in all of this because, I mean,
there's a lot to talk about on this. This is going to be the single most interesting Baseball Hall of Fame ballot of our lifetime, is my guess.
I'd agree. All right, I guess, yeah, we might as well go with that. So let's look at the returning players first. Kurt Schilling, 10th year, 71.1%. Last year, his openly said, "Take me off of the ballot." He's still on it.
Mm-hmm. He needs like 11 more votes to get in.
I maintain for who said it? I think it was Bill James. I could be off on that. Might not have been him. But there was one voter who said last year that he didn't want to give Schilling the vote because he didn't want him to be able to put Hall of Famer and get more money off of this. And they're not thinking.
Not his job. That's not your job as a voter.
Well, no, but it's going to have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
So if you really want to punish him, as weird as it sounds, induct him.
Probably true.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Is Pete Rose as big a cultural phenomenon if he's in the Hall?
Pete Rose will tell you that he's bigger name because of it.
Yeah. And
I know that because he told me.
In person.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, the 3 10-timers with Schilling, Bonds, and Clemens. This is the last time on the ballot for each of them.
Yeah. Bonds with 61.8%, Clemens 61.6%. Like you say all the time, how are you voting for one? Who are these people who decided that I'm going to vote for one and not the other?
Yeah.
What made you come up with this decision? Because it's also alternated a couple times with Clemens being slightly higher.
Yeah, Clemens has been getting the one more vote for the last few years, and Bonds got the extra vote this year. I don't get it. Like, one's a 7-time MVP, one's a 7-time Cy Young Award winner. Both have suspicions of drug use, even though I don't think either of them have been officially caught.
No.
So who's voting for one and not the other, I don't know. But yeah, they are. That's why it's so interesting, because I want to pull in for the people who are coming in. The top 2 names coming in are A-Rod and Big Papi, who, as I was corrected on the internet, corrected correctly. Both of them, it came out were people who tested positive on the Mitchell report. And A-Rod subsequently got busted with the guy down in Florida.
Yep.
Although he never tested negative or never tested positive his entire career. Big Papi never tested positive the rest of his career either, at least when there's drug testing. It was never tied up with anything else. But is that going to matter?
Well, let's also then remind everyone too, just because you were named on the Mitchell report doesn't mean a goddamn thing. That was not illegal at the time. That was sort of a baseline to figure out where do we go from here.
Correct. And all those names were supposed to be destroyed. And shock of all shocks, they weren't.
Yeah, right up there with the only few emails from John Gruden.
Oh yeah, those are the only emails that were 600,000. Oh, don't forget the one from Adam Schefter that they threw in there too. Oh, sorry. By the way, elevator down. I'm doing your thing. The city of St. Louis having an NFL team.
Yeah, I saw that today. I thought that was almost a done deal. Like they were.
Whoever that negotiator is for St. Louis, fire them and sue them for the difference in money that they should have gotten. That was a pittance.
It was
$790 million is a pittance.
It's sometimes I
what they should
feel
have gotten.
I feel icky when I watch football, but I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Olympics too. But
yeah, St. Louis, you done screwed up. You should have had an expansion team out of this whole thing, and now you're never. Here's my prediction: St. Louis never has an NFL team ever again. The door is closed. This was their last shot,
and it was such a great shot at it too.
And they blew it completely. So anyway, back to baseball.
Yeah, so we've got these three. Like you said, this is going to be fascinating. I don't know if all three could get through, because maybe some of the writers say, hey, well, I taught them a lesson, blah, blah, blah. Who the hell knows what goes on in some of them? Well, actually, we do know. Some of them are open about it.
Yeah.
And even the ones who are assholes, like Dan Shaughnessy, at least he says, at least he tells you, I respect that. I don't respect much.
The curly-haired boyfriend does not deserve your respect.
Well, I'm also a free speech guy. I like when people say what's on their mind, and we're transparent.
I know it has nothing to do with him saying what is on his mind. It's that it's all become the Boston sports shtick, where everything is bad all the time. So, and he's just like, if the Patriots are 7-4, everyone that's beaten's a tomato can. He calls them tomato cans all the time. They're not any good.
Yeah, I've only read a bit of him. I don't even think I've ever seen him in an actual interview. Maybe I have, and I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm going to back away from that comment, like LeBron backing away from a guy he just punched in the face.
Oh my God. And my new favorite basketball player, Enes Kanter, he's going scorched earth, and I love it.
Yeah. Hey, he played. He's playing. He's playing.
He's playing. He might as well, because this is his last NBA season. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
And I think he knows it. And he's not gonna get a Netflix deal. He's not gonna get a Colin Kaepernick sweet thing out of this. This ain't happening for him, because he's going after Hollywood. He's going after everybody. Yep. Nobody's gonna come to him on this one. But either way, yeah, let's move on. Scott Rowland, I always find interesting. Fifth year, 52.9%. I like Rowland a lot, but wouldn't it be weird if he's the only one who gets through when you have all these names? And that's not impossible.
It's not impossible. I actually think that Rowland does get in this time, because the voters don't want to have two empty classes. So I think more people vote for him than they would have normally. Mm-hmm. But I think Rowland gets in with like 77% of vote, and that Ortiz is going to sneak in with like 75.
Well, someone who's screwed, I think.
Someone who is not getting into the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, we all know what he did, what he's alleged to have done.
Yep.
It's not good. I was never that big for him in the Hall anyway, but that's really not relevant to why it's not going to happen for him. Billy Wagner, 46.4%. I'll never understand the momentum behind him, but it's there.
Yep.
Todd Helton, someone I do like, 44.9.
Helton's eventually going to get in. It's not going to be this year, but by the time he's done, he will year 6 or 7. So this is year 4 for him. So 2 to 3 years from now, Helton will be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think so. Gary Sheffield, who I didn't think would make 40%, but that's what he hit last year, 40.6, 8th year. So he's got 2 more years.
I don't think he's ever getting in.
No, I don't either. Andrew Jones, 33.9%. Who would you rather have build a team around, Sheffield or Jones?
Sheffield.
Okay, so for me, it's Jones.
Jones is a better outfielder. Sheffield's a better all-around player.
Yeah.
I mean, both could cream the ball, but I think I'd rather have Sheffield. It's also I saw a lot more of Sheffield too.
All right, fair. Jeff Kent, who keeps hanging on, 32.4%, ninth year. He's not getting in.
This is only year 8 for him, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So either way, he's not getting in. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He's also the only person that's ever been on Survivor who's on this list. So.
Yeah, John Rocker is not going to appear.
He is not going to appear. No.
No. Oh, man. Manny Ramirez, another interesting one. So, I mean,
well, what happens if Ortiz gets in? Does Manny's numbers suddenly shoot up? It's interesting because Manny did fail 2 drug tests.
Yeah.
So A-Rod was suspended for 100 games. Ortiz was never suspended, but he was on that list. But he also did win 3 championships. It was most hit like 560 something.
But now people like A-Rod. Like, how the hell did this happen?
Well, he's on a TV show with Big Papi. That's why I don't like him. Although, to be fair, A-Rod has not been shot, and Big Papi has been. So,
and dating J-Lo doesn't hurt him either. It shouldn't make a difference. But I'm more fascinated with A-Rod's vote than anyone else's.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. A-Rod and Ortiz are going to be fascinating. So, anyway, the other folks, Sammy Sosa in his last year.
He's not going anywhere.
He's going to need to cork some voters. One-time drug user Andy Pettit.
Or Sosa could sort of like whitewash the ballot.
I didn't want to go there, but it was. Yeah. Justin Trudeau approves.
Andy
so I had to throw your guy in there.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
Andy Pettit.
I like it. I like Andy a lot. I don't know. Okay. Is Andy Pettit really that much less of a pitcher than Mike Messina?
No.
So.
Yeah. Not really.
Yeah. Mark Burley and Torrey Hunter, and I'm just lumping them together because, again, 2 players I like. I did not see them getting past the first round.
Tim Hudson, too.
Yeah, Tim Hudson, yes.
Burley was just an absolute warrior, probably the last guy who will ever come close to throwing almost 300 innings in a season. That dude was just, give me the ball and I will pitch you 7 innings minimum every single day. Mm-hmm. Hunter's 2 most famous moments I could think of, and correct me if I am wrong, is in the All-Star game, robbing Barry Bonds of that home run and not being able to catch Big Papi's homer into the bullpen and having his feet up in the air in the
sounds about right.
Playoffs against the Tigers. Is there another play I'm missing for Torrey Hunter's career?
Someone has it. I can't think of it.
Yeah, those are the first 2 that come to mind for him. Tim Hudson was a pitcher and a decent one.
Yeah, but
I don't know either. And then, of course, Bobby Abreu, who's a favorite of the people on our baseball list.
I like him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So new former players, as we mentioned already, Ortiz and A-Rod.
Yep.
There's some really good players that could be one and done. Carl Crawford may not necessarily be one of them. Prince Fielder at one point was a very popular player and the best power hitter at one point in time.
Yeah, you can do the same thing with Ryan Howard.
You could. It's amazing to see that with Ryan Howard, with the amount of power that he had. I think he's got a B WAR under 15.
Yeah,
which
is crazy.
Yeah.
And he has a World Series ring though, and so does his teammate who's on here, Jimmy Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean another really good player, Tim Lincecum. Mm-hmm. If Tim Hudson can get here, shouldn't Lincecum be higher than that?
I think we may be exchanging Tims on this ballot.
I think so. We're going to go for one Tim for Tiny Tim.
Yeah, or at least slight Tim. He was very, very slight.
He was.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason they called him a freak. Like, how does he throw like that when you're built like that?
Yeah, but Pedro and Lincecum were like the two skinniest dudes just out there throwing stuff. Jake Peavy.
Oh,
Favorite Jake Peavy memory?
you got me.
Your frogs are appropriate crickets on that one. And the one guy they had put in the balloter is going to come to their house and beat the crap out of all of them. AJ Pierzynski, one of the orneriest men in baseball history.
Oh yeah, we've also got Justin Morneau. I think they
I missed Morneau. You're correct.
Joe Nathan, and Mark Teixeira. I always find it interesting who didn't get on the ballot.
Yeah, I have that too. So, who did you see who the best player who did not show up on the ballot was in terms of WAR?
Isn't it Coco Crisp?
It's Coco Crisp. Yeah, former Red Sox great. So Coco Crisp is one. And then after Coco, it's Marlon Byrd. So of the people retired in 2016, the batters, 1 was A-Rod, 2 Ortiz, 3 Teixeira, 4 Rollins, 5 Crawford, 6 Coco, 7 Morneau, 8 Marlon Byrd, 9 Prince Fielder, 10 AJ Pierzynski, believe it or not. Then Michael Bourne, Juan Uribe, Alexei Ramirez, Angel Pagan, who I always thought was just fighting himself with his name. Tigers legend Omar Infante. How about BJ Upton? That's the guy I thought was going to be way better than he ended up being.
Yeah,
and it's a long way to get to Ryan Howard at number 20.
I don't really have a problem with any of these guys getting left off.
No,
I think, and I know that because like that's the thing with WAR. It's not the be all and end all of everything, but
right.
Ryan Howard should be on this on a ballot consideration over Coco Crisp.
Agreed.
And
100% agreed.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with those left off. And again, congratulations to the new people on this, because that's one hell of an accomplishment.
It is. And just by the way, the top pitcher who is not on here is John Danks. Is the top pitcher not on the list, according to WAR. And then Kyle Loesch, Gavin Floyd, Matt Thornton, Jose Fernandez, and Chin-Min Wong. So it isn't like Luke Hochshaver, Joel Peralta, Joba Chamberlain. Remember him with all the gnats on his neck in that one game against the Red Sox?
Jesus.
Like this isn't a heck of a list. I also would like to point out that the 2 worst players retired in 2016. Just for pitchers, it was someone named Jojo Reyes, who pitched from 7 seasons from 2007 to 2016. I do not remember him at all. Who had a negative 3.7 WAR as a pitcher, which is hard to do. And for fielder, it was Jordan Pacheco, who played 6 years from 2011 to 2016, who was a negative 4 for his career.
It's awesome.
So congrats, guys. You made the list.
And we're not saying that facetiously. I mean, that it's you got to be one hell of a baseball player to even just get on a ballot, because you have to have been in the majors for 10 years and then still make another cut. Like, is there a reasonable suspicion that you could get a few people voting for you? And I think you can say that. Well, okay, actually, let's look before we go into the next thing. Out of the new people who are on this list, who is the most likely to get a donut?
Pierzynski. I don't know who's
Over Papelbon?
Yeah, Papelbon at least was.
Pierzynski didn't he get the World Series too with the White Sox?
He did get World Series with the White Sox. Papelbon got a World Series with the Red Sox and the Phillies. Jake Peavy, maybe.
Peavy was like, we joked about Peavy. Peavy was decent.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the people who got shut out last year were AJ Burnett, Michael Kadire, Dan Herod, Nick Switcher, and Shane Victorino. Every one of these guys is better than those 5 guys.
Yeah.
In fact, Michael Kadire is on Hall of Fame ballot at all. He owes somebody a lot of money, or he did a real big favor for anyone. but like all of these guys are better than those guys. I still think Papelbon could be shut out. I'd say PV, Papelbon, and Przinski, the three Ps are the most likely guys to be fully shut out. I think someone's going to vote for Morneau. Someone's going to vote for Fielder. Someone will vote for Joe Nathan with those Giants teams at the start of the decade there. Someone's going to vote for Ryan Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins, Crawford, Teixeira, they're all going to vote. And then Ortiz, Rodriguez, and Lincecum, maybe Teixeira, maybe Rollins will all still stay on the ballot.
Yeah.
So I think Tim Hudson's dropping off. It wouldn't shock me if Torrey Hunter dropped off either.
Hudson's lucky to be there. I just don't understand. And
making two ballots is pretty impressive. So Lou Whitaker didn't even do that.
But that doesn't mean you can't be one and done and still find your way into the Hall of Fame. Chad Simmons.
It's true. And yeah, they screw up on this stuff all the time.
And sometimes it's just clogged. My thing when I always look at Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when Franco, who I think is a better pitcher and's got a better resume overall, was a one and done. I looked back at that ballot that he would have been on. He wouldn't have been a vote for me because it was just that loaded. If I was to go all 10, he would have been my 12th.
Yeah, that is actually the problem. Yeah, John Franco had 4.6% of the vote. That was Robbie Alomar, Burt Blyleven, Barry Larkin, Jack Morris, Lee Smith, Jeff Bagwell, Tim Raines, Edgar Martinez, Alan Trammell, Larry Walker.
Mm-hmm.
That's 10 Hall of Famers right there. Also, Harold Baines is on that ballot.
I like Harold Baines. It's still a surprise, but I still would have had Baines over Franco.
No, agreed.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that as well, but my point is there are 11 Hall of Famers on the 2011 ballot. So he's at, and that's including McGuire, McGriff, Parker, Mattingly, Dale Murphy, Rafi Palmeiro, Juan Gonzalez. Those are all the guys who all finished in front of him. Those are all pretty damn good players. Juan Gonzalez, I don't understand what happened with him. He was 2 and done. Juan Gonzalez was a ridiculous player for the Rangers for at least half a decade.
Very good player. But also, again, look at that ballot.
Yeah.
Like that's anyway. So yeah, should we go to dead people or fake people?
Yeah, let's clear off the dead people. We'll finish with the fake people. We don't want to finish on the downer.
All right, kind of thought that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going into the people who have passed away this week who have something to do with something that we talk about. Hold on one second. I'm just updating this page. Okay, we don't have any new names that got added. I always double check that before I start.
Has that ever happened?
Yep, it's happened before.
Okay.
So let's start in the world of skiing. Former world record holder for fastest skier, Ralph Miller, passed away at the age of 88. In 1955, he set the world record by hitting 108.7 miles an hour on skis in Portillo, Chile. So one of the first, I want to say daredevils of the sport. He passed away in Lexington, Massachusetts, at the age of 88. Yeah, going 108 miles an hour on 1950s equipment is insane. In Chile, where there wasn't necessarily any sort. I've skied in the Andes.
I was just going to ask you that because I figured that might have been possible.
Yeah, I have skied in the Andes. I did not bring my ski equipment with me, so I had to use rental equipment. Mm-hmm. Absolutely terrified of the rental equipment. It was like we're in Las Leñas in Argentina on the Andes, and there's the best trail on the mountain. 9 people had died on it that year.
If the move happens and we do go from Barbados to Manitoba, which is altogether possible, and yes, that's happening, I'll explain to all of you at one point later why that is and why I would make that decision, because I didn't. My wife will.
And doing it in the winter also, I'd like to.
Yeah, exactly. Out. But I'll take you to the biggest ski slope in Manitoba.
Is how many cornfields are there in Manitoba? Is it a cornfield or is it? Because I feel like Manitoba is pretty flat.
I'm sure I can find something.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, from the world of the NBA. Excuse me. We lost Don Kogis, who is a two-time NBA All-Star in 68 and 69, had his number retired by Marquette, played from 61 to 75 with a whole bunch of teams in the NBA, passed away at the age of 82. From the world of music, we lost, hold on a second here. We lost jazz trombonist Slide Hampton, who's one of the best known jazz trombonists out there. I know there isn't a big thing for you, but he's a member of the Indianapolis Jazz Foundation, which is like the Jazz Hall of Fame. And he got the highest honor in jazz from the National Endowment for the Arts and the NEA National Endowment for the Arts Jazz Masters Award.
Cool.
He passed away at the age of 89. From the Beach Boys, among other things, recent touring member Billy Hinch passed away at the age of 70.
Will they bury him in Bermuda, Jamaica? No, sorry.
I think the Montserrat's got that mystique thing, so maybe there.
All right.
You know, half of Montserrat you can't actually go to.
I did not know that.
That's an active volcano zone. So half the island they don't let anyone on for Martinique, except for scientists. Sorry, not Martinique, Montserrat. Yeah, so Billy Hinch passed away, originally born in the Philippines. He passed away at the age of 70 after a short battle with lung cancer. His mom actually died the same day.
Oh, Jesus.
So, but his mom, he was 70. His mom has to be somewhere in her 90s, you would guess. From Paul Revere and the Raiders, hold on a second. It's the guy, Keith Allison, the American singer and bassist for Paul Revere and the Raiders, passed away at the age of 79. I don't have a cause of death for him. Paul Revere and the Raiders are one of those bands that people have been talking about maybe getting in at some point here for a while. One of the last 60s bands they're thinking about. They need a seniors committee at this point, I think.
I hate to say it, but kind of the way your country is going, a patriotic band name isn't really, I don't know.
Possible.
Their also biggest hit was singing about how they were Cherokees.
That's also true. Indian Reservation.
Yeah. I actually like that song, but maybe they're not the ones to sing it.
Hey, it was 1971. Somebody had to sing it at some point. So, yeah. I mean, Apache is another one by who sang Apache, but I can't think of it.
I'm thinking of something else because I thought it was an instrumental.
Yeah,
it must be something else. Okay.
I can't remember that one, but yeah, that was also done by a white dude and white ladies dancing around in moccasins. So that video is ridiculous.
They meant well.
They did at the time. They meant well,
and that's what I think that a lot of people need to remember.
Yeah.
But moving on. Sorry.
Moving on from the world of football, Steve Smith, the running back, passed away at the age of 57 from Lou Gehrig's disease. Third round pick in 87 by the Los Angeles Raiders. He played with the Raiders and Seahawks over 7 years. But yeah, he's been very, very involved with Lou Gehrig's disease. They did a thing on him with Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, talking about it's possible that having brain trauma releases toxic proteins into the body that could contribute to or may cause Lou Gehrig's disease. So he's part of that whole thing, trying to figure that out.
I guess Steve Gleason must be part of that.
He might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
He also, interestingly, won the original Madden Bowl during the tournament during the Super Bowl, where the football players played the Madden game.
Do you think there's a healthy amount of NFL players now who have no idea that that Madden was named after a coach?
Yes. There are a healthy number of NFL players who don't know games can end in a tie. So yes, there's a healthy number.
How the hell is that happening?
Yeah. Yeah. And after the Steelers game, Najee Harris thought that they just went to another overtime.
Yes. Which is, and the crazy thing is, these players, as much as a lot of people say, well, they're all meatheads. Okay. The amount of homework that a football player has in terms of play memorization and whatnot, it's.
And I don't blame Najee Harris. He's a rookie. He came from the NCAA where they constantly had playing again and again in ties. But one of the, I think the offensive line coach for the Lions didn't know either. So, and he'd been in the league for many, many, many years. So anyway, but Steve Smith sadly passed away. He was only 57.
Yeah.
Few character actors I always like bringing up. Amazing Larry from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Lou Kutel passed away at the age of 91. Do you remember Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I only saw it once. I don't really remember too much about it. I know that he might be, Pee-wee might be featured in something that Chris Bernay, and I'm going to do a shameless plug here if I can.
Go for it.
We do, Chris Bernay and I, we do a show here on the network called This Crap Was on National Television. We just did the original Love Boat pilot, which you might think, well, hey, Love Boat wasn't crap. Yeah, it wasn't. The pilot was.
Don't you talk about Gavin McLeod that way.
He wasn't in it.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
None of them were. Dick Van Patten was in there as the doctor, and he was he was playing the Casanova type.
That's always good.
And it's Dick Van Patten doing that. It just didn't work.
Dick Van Patten was like no worse than the fifth sexiest man of the 70s.
He wasn't even the fifth sexiest man on that boat. Hal Linden, I think, was right up there, and he had game. He was macking on this. It was Karen Valentine.
Oh, okay.
And she was playing a deaf teacher, and his thing was,
"Hello, is it me you're looking for?" That was a blind. That'd be a blind teacher. Sorry.
No. She wasn't deaf. She taught deaf kids.
Okay.
And so his line was, so you can read lips? Yeah, I can do that. So read mine, and then goes in for that.
Ugh.
I thought, while Chris was disgusted, he agreed with you. I thought he nailed it, and I wrote that down. And I said, if I'm ever
again for the 70s, he nailed it. So
I thought he did. Hal Linden's still alive, by the way.
Possible. I haven't kept a track of Hal Linden, but yeah, Lou Kutel passed away. He was 91. The most interesting thing he did recently, he co-wrote and starred in a Broadway play called Viagra Falls, which seems like it was something I probably need to see. He also played a recurring role in Betty White's Off Their Rockers in recent years.
Oh, okay. I saw that a couple of times. That was a cute show.
Yeah. From the world of voice acting, Will Ryan passed away. Best known as Petrie from The Land Before Time. And also, did you ever see American Tail?
Is that the one with like Fievel or something like that?
Yes, Fievel. Yeah, the bad guy has a very nervous cockroach as his accountant, and he played the cockroach. I always remember that one line. The cockroach is trying to be honest, and the bad guy, Warren T. Rat, not that I've seen this on the bunch with my kids, says, I've never known a cockroach with good taste, but I've known plenty that taste good." It's one of my favorite threatening lines of all time.
I'm going to segue again out just because Evan did one of the funnest things. Not necessarily, wasn't really up my thing because I don't really watch a lot of Disney films. But you had it on your Facebook the what was it, the March Madness tournament for the Disney villains.
Yeah, for who's the evilest Disney villain.
Yeah.
And that and you're right. I probably swayed it, but they came up with the correct answer, which is Claude Frollo. He's the only one who legitimately wanted genocide as his ultimate goal. He was spurned by a woman, so he wanted genocide.
That's, I think, a lot bigger than I want a puppy coat. Michael Vick was saying, yeah, I get that.
Or Balthazar from the Aristocats, who couldn't wait for the cats to die to inherit the money from his former employer. So he tried to ship them to Timbuktu.
Yeah.
So.
In that Love Boat pilot, there was actually Don Adams was trying to kill Florence Henderson, his wife.
Was he using his shoe?
No, he wasn't using his shoe. But then the weird thing is, they decided they made up at the end. He tried to kill her 4 times. Like what? This pilot was nothing like. Anyway, go on.
Anyway,
Yeah.
One last character actor, Art LaFleur, passed away at the age of 78.
Oh, I know. Probably know that name. What was he?
Probably best remembered as Babe Ruth in The Sandlot. Would be my guess. If you ever watched Sandlot.
Yeah, I did, but
let's see. He was in MASH. He was a Rescue from Gilligan's Island.
What did he play in MASH?
He was an MP in one episode. I'm just looking at his thing that have it here quickly. I
feel like I know him from something.
Yeah, I don't know. He was a Tooth Fairy in the Santa Claus too. He just had the face of a cop. So anyway, Art LaFleur is 78. But I guess the 2 bigger names were both from baseball this week. Former Pirate Bill Verdon passed away at the age of 90. 1955 Rookie of the Year, 2-time World Series champion with 60, and the very famous 1960 Pirates who won in Bill Mazeroski's homer and 71. Only hit 267 in his career, but he was Rookie of the Year. He won a Gold Glove.
Managed the Expos too, I think, at one point.
He did. He managed the Pirates, Yankees, Astros, and Expos.
Okay.
Yeah. So played outfield mostly for the Pirates, the center fielder generally. What he passed away of? No, it just said he passed away at the age of 90. I guess the saddest one this week, Doug Jones passed away, the closer for the Indians, among others, with the big handlebar mustache.
Yeah.
You remember him? Brewers, Indians, Astros, Phillies, Orioles, Cubs, Brewers, Indians, and Athletics. So a bunch of them. 5-time All-Star. Last appearance was September 29th of 2000. So not that long ago, but he passed away at the age of 64. When he retired in 2000, he was the oldest player in the majors at 43. But he died from COVID. So yeah.
Still taking a lot of people from us, isn't it?
It is. There more people died in 2021 than died in 2020.
Yeah, I just well, is that worldwide or is that just in the US?
Just I don't know if it's worldwide. It's at least the US.
Okay.
So yeah. So anyway, Doug Jones, member of the 300 Save Club, which aren't a ton of those in Major League Baseball. So anyway, that's my list.
Yeah. So we close off with 2 other halls that Evan and I run. We've got the Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame and the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So you can vote for these because it's all up to you. It's all up to you. Because if it was up to me, some of the people who got in wouldn't be in.
Wild Stallions.
Wild Stallions deserve to be in.
I know. I was just kidding. They're one band though that never had a song, I don't think. So
although I do think I finally saw Bill and Ted Face the Music and they kind of ruined it.
Oh, did they?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, because the whole thing was that they saved the whole world with their music, and then in this sequel, like, no, they didn't. It was their daughters. What the hell is that? God damn stupid telling of everything. But my past that made everything so happy. Anyway, that was my crotchety moment.
Hey, you allowed one at your age.
Oh, only one.
Only one.
Oh, damn. All right. And I used it up.
Yeah. So sure. One per day. Sounds good. Right. So I know that the rock one went through. Do we have the athlete one as well?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. So I'm prepared on rock. I wasn't prepared on athlete. So.
Well, should we do the athlete one? Because I got that one up right now.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So these are the new finalists. If someone name isn't there, they're already in, or maybe it just wasn't voted. Should we actually say who's all in it right now?
Yeah, just do that right now.
Okay. So the fictitious athletes currently: Rocky Balboa, Roy Hobbs, the natural, Crash Davis, Ricky the Wild Thing Vaughn, Happy Gilmore, Reggie Dunlop, and the Hanson brothers from Slapshot, Charlie Conway, the Mighty Ducks, Benny the Jet Rodriguez from The Sandlot, Apollo Creed, Willie Mays Hayes, Forrest Gump, Bobby Boucher from The Waterboy, Paul Wrecking Crew, The Longest Yard, that's the Burt Reynolds version, Dottie Hinson, A League of Their Own, Daniel LaRusso, Clubber Lang, Ivan Drago, Fast Eddie Felson, Al Bundy, Homer Simpson, and Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai. All right. So your finalists for this year, 3 will join. We could have a father-son. Adonis Creed is a finalist.
I mean, we got pretty much everyone else from Rocky because even Mickey's in, right? As a
yes,
and Adrian is a contributor too, isn't she in?
Yes.
Yeah. But
there are some more Rocky.
True.
Yeah.
But Adonis is the only Rocky one here. So
yes. Al Cervic from Caddyshack.
It was his 100th birthday earlier this week, by the way.
Huh.
Yeah, right in Dangerfield.
We're gonna get laid.
He was born November 22nd, 1921.
Love Rodney.
Yeah.
All the Way May. The only time that Madonna didn't suck in a movie.
You didn't like her as Breathless Mahoney in Dick Tracy?
I did not.
Fair enough.
I did not like her in that. I thought she was terrible in that movie. I thought that everyone was terrible in that movie. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible film.
Okay. But how do you really feel?
Chaz Michael Michaels, Will Ferrell, Blades of Glory.
Never saw that one, so I can't really say much about it. That's one of the Will Ferrell ones I've missed.
I like it. Greg Goldberg from the
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely deserving. We're working our way through Mighty Ducks. Goldberg's got to be next.
This one shocked me. Jack Elliott, Mr. Baseball, Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Greatest mustache in movie history.
It is. I'll say this: Tom Selleck, even though he was probably near 50, he looks like a baseball player.
Yep. You believed it. I mean, and the whole thing was that it was the end of his career anyway, right? He was an old guy just hanging on for one more season. That's a really good movie that gets overlooked.
Do you know
I saw that 2 or 3 years ago again? It's a good movie.
Do you know that he actually, I don't know if it was in preparation for, but he was actually in spring training. I forget for what team, and they just actually let him bat. So he had a real at bat in a spring training game.
Good for him.
Yeah. Jake Taylor, Major League. He's going to get my vote because I think he was the true star of that Cleveland Indians team that won the division.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The dude, Jeff Lebowski.
I know he's technically an athlete, but you don't necessarily think of his athletic skill. I mean, just think of the cardigan he's wearing in that picture.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to probably vote for him because he's the best character, but yeah.
Jimmy Chitwood. From Hoosiers.
Yep.
This guy's going to get in eventually. Probably not deserving, but he'd kick everyone's ass. Lee and Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. He's absolutely, I mean, Bruce Lee has to get in here somehow. Might as well be Lee from Enter the Dragon.
Well, that's the only way he can.
Yeah.
Peter LaFleur from Dodgeball.
Could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball.
Randy the Ram Robinson, the wrestler.
Probably the most deserving on this whole list, to be honest. I mean, the only one of these roles where anyone came close to winning an Oscar.
It's amazing how, I don't know how you can be that good looking, destroy your looks, and still manage to find work.
And quality work. He's a good.
Yes.
I mean, that's the movie's really freaking good.
For sure. Roy McAvoy, Kevin Costner could enter again as Tin Cup. Oh, I went over Ricky Bobby.
If you're not first, you're last, man.
Yes.
And he's alphabetically third from last.
And Sam Malone, a finalist again from your neck of the woods. From
my neck of the woods, yes. I don't know how many people still remember Cheers, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who ends up out of this group. Mm-hmm. So I will tell you who I'm voting for at first look here. How many do I get to vote for? 3?
Should be 3's going to get in. We should be able to vote for 5.
Ooh, 5. That's exciting. So I'll definitely vote for Randy the Ram, Ricky Bobby. I don't care. I'm voting for Lee. I'll go Jack Elliott and Adonis Creed.
Nice. All right. So contributors. These are people who, well, they're not necessarily coaches. They could be anything. They're just in the movie and they weren't athletes. Annie Savoy, Bull Durham. Oh my.
Oh my.
Susan Sarandon does not age. She's 75. And I'm seeing all the promos for, I guess, Empire, only if it's country. I don't know what deal with what devil she made. But yep. Holy shit. Caretaker, this is from the other Longest Yard, the 2005 version, Chris Rock. And I think it's because it's Chris Rock. Mm-hmm. This one always surprises me. Frank Drebin.
I think you mean Enrico Palazzo.
Yes, the umpire from The Naked Gun. Well, he was from the Police Squad, but he portrayed
Police Squad.
Yes,
and save the Queen from Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
So still one of the best things in the movie. Ricardo Montalban falls off the back of the stadium, falls to death, gets run over by a steamroller, and then a marching band goes over top of him. And George Kennedy looks at Leslie Nielsen and says, "My dad went the same way."
Frankie Dunn, $1 Million Baby. Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, why? I don't see Frankie Dunn in the thing here.
Oh, wait a minute. Actually, no, he's not. I hadn't deleted that in my work. But no, yeah, he's a semi-finalist. Yeah, so he's not. All good. Hayden Fox, coach. A show that ran a long time, and I don't really know why.
I don't have an answer for you.
Again, for a head coach for a team that won the national championship, how did he do that with the most incompetent staff?
I mean, never underestimate the power of Minnesota State.
I suppose so. Irv Blitzer.
Cool runnings.
Yeah, and I always wonder when people see that movie, they say, "Oh yeah, it's a real story." No. Yes, there was a Jamaican bobsled team in the '88 Olympics. None of them were named fucking Sanka Coffee. Jesus Christ. For a movie I love so much, I always have to just suspend everything I know.
Yep, understood.
And I do every time. All right, Jerry Maguire. Lou Brown, who will get my vote? Tire World.
You lollygag to first base. You lollygag down the line. You know what that makes him? Lollygaggers.
Man, wasn't that Bull Durham?
That was Bull Durham. Crap.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I still love Lou Brown. Oh man, I screwed that up. You can cut that part out, which you won't. I know because you don't edit. But anyway.
No, it's too much.
Anyway, here's the guy getting my vote. The next guy, Norman Dale.
Norman Dale, Hoosiers. Because if you want to go from great acting, did he not win the Oscar for this?
I don't know. He's the greatest living American actor.
No, he didn't. Crap. The other guy did. He played his assistant. Dennis Hopper. Yeah, he won an Oscar.
Mm. Yeah, my team is on the floor.
I always like that one scene though. They go to that one arena, and just the first thing he does and just gets out the tape measure. I think you'll find it's the same.
The same height.
Yeah, same height. Rocky, Polly.
Yeah.
Polly Pedino. And it always seems. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and it always seems to alternate between Ray Kinsella and this man, Terrence Mann, from Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why, but it's.
If you vote for him, he'll get in.
I've built it. Now they will come.
Yes. We vote for 3 here, or 2, or how many are we voting for?
3.
3. I'm going Lou Brown, Norman Dale, Terrence Mann. Who you got?
Dale, Polly, and Lou Brown.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then the veterans. This is pretty much from a sports movie before 1970. One returning finalist, Harold Lamb, the freshman, who I'm pretty sure you're going to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And,
no, actually, I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
No.
Greta Mueller, 1 in a Million, from Sonia Henney playing a figure skater.
Yeah, that's what I'm voting for, because one of my favorite movies of all time is Sun Valley Serenade.
Okay.
With her, she's absolutely amazing. So.
And Elizabeth Taylor as Velvet Brown in National Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably going to go with that. But I haven't voted yet for this one. And then we've got The Rock. Rock. And this one, it's a little bit different because for the first time ever, we've got contributors.
I know, it's exciting.
It is. I think so. So here are the finalists. Returning finalist, Alice Bowie from Cheech and Chong.
Mm-hmm.
Cheech could actually play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was born in East LA.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw there's a new Nash Bridges movie that's out.
There is?
Yeah. On an actual Nash Bridges movie on TBS. They had a whole thing on that where like they need old school cops to come in and whip these young millennials or Gen Zers into shape. So yeah. I
always felt that Don Johnson aged from 35 to 50 super quick, and then he's just been in a holding pattern.
Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I wish one of my favorite movies the last few years, and I don't get to see many, was Knives Out.
Yeah, I like that.
He was great in that film. I was like, why is Don Johnson here? And the answer to that is honestly, they delayed the filming of the James Bond film by 3 weeks. And so he's like, hey, anybody want to be in my film? And he got everybody who was available for 3 weeks. So Chris Evans was available because it was filmed in the town next to where Chris Evans grew up. So he could basically just go home to his parents at night. He's taking a month off to stay with his parents. So he could go home to his parents at night. But yeah, that's why it's a kind of quirky ensemble. But he was really good in that film. So
Bart Simpson. Well, he was in a boy band, and he actually had a top 20 hit in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Bart Man.
He did.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, here we go. Buckaroo Banzai and the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
I'm predicting they get in without anyone knowing who voted for them.
Well, they just scraped in.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So that online group that flooded them in a landslide didn't for this one, but I guess they did enough. So here they are. We'll see what happens. Eddie and the Cruisers.
Can't say I know a ton about that film.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite films. Well, I shouldn't say that. Eddie and the Cruisers is a pretty good film. The sequel was just god awful and never should have been done.
That happens with a lot of films.
Yeah, well.
There was never a Caddyshack 2. You can't convince me otherwise.
Dan Aykroyd is so bad in that movie. Is he bad? Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes from Star Wars. The Cantina Band.
You guys want the same song again? Sounds good.
Yeah. From South Park, Finger Bang.
Yeah, South Park's got like 72 bands you could choose. I'm not sure how Finger Bang ended up over like Faith Plus One or whatever, but
well, because of the great name.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten Everybody Gets Laid on this list before?
They're here, but no one's ever they're not always a preliminary nominee,
Okay.
but they've never made it.
Yeah, that's a movie that was very important in my life, and you had to have been born in like between 1978 and 1980 for that movie to matter to you. But yeah, that was one of my favorite band names of all time. We need to get people to come. How about Tonight at the Pit? Everybody gets laid.
Well, hey, it ties in with Al Cervic. Final line of the movie. Hey, everybody, we're gonna get laid. We're all gonna get laid. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And by the way, sorry, and also for next year, write it down now. For next year,
Yeah.
Love Handle. Make sure they get him. Handel from Phineas and Ferb.
Okay.
They appear all the time in that show, so it's not like they're a one-off. So
okay.
Love Handle. So
Hannah Montana.
Yep.
I've said this to Andrea on the other show that we do. How the hell did this go to number one? Brad Nelson was a guest on that one, and recently, you've had the pleasure of speaking with Brad, where we looked at bread. Because if you're going to talk about bread, you need Brad. Yeah, that got old really quick when we did that yesterday. Hannah Montana, character super. Hey, that character was massive. I still think Miley Cyrus is awesome, and she should be doing a hell of a lot more rock.
Fair enough.
Party
in the USA is a legitimate banger.
I've just been seeing her do so many other covers of other things. It's just man, she's good. And I'm being totally serious.
I know you are.
Yeah.
I know you are.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that. I know you know that, but I'm saying that to other people. Gem and the Holograms, so I think we'll get your vote.
Gem and the Holograms is the best act not in. Now that we got Josie and the Pussycats last year, Gem and the Holograms is now my pet project.
One I don't understand, but it always comes up, Michigan J. Frog.
Ruiner of lives.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Ricky Ricardo. Hey, Cuban band leader. Why not? Another one I never quite get, but Schroeder. He's back here again. In the piano.
I think Schroeder's here. Schroeder is the karmic retribution for Lucy for always playing football out from under Charlie. Jesus Christ.
You know what? But at some point, you just have to say, Charlie, you're a fucking idiot. You know what she's gonna do, and you keep falling for it.
But they're still Lions fans, dude.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
The Lions have won one playoff game in my life. They're not winning one this year. That'll be 43 years. They won a game when I was 11.
Oh, they're creating a push in our bet. And I'm gonna lose the other two. Looks like again, because of course I lose a bet. Big shock there.
Well, I mean, the Patriots haven't won that division yet.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how I get competitive over stupid beer.
It's something. That's why you always make your bets in beer.
Well, you know what though? I now understand. I think I've been. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I've been meaning to tell you with the bets that you and I make, which is, we just make bets over beer. Yeah. And we haven't even met yet, so we don't even know when this is actually going to come to fruition. But I now understand in trading places, and here when the two millionaires are betting, ruining lives over a $1 bet. I get it. I get it now.
Yep. Understood. So,
yeah.
Another band who has almost a second life with a whole new show with Riverdale.
The Archies.
Yeah.
Who did go number one. Andrew and I did talk about that one.
Your Sugar, right?
Sugar, yeah. They're going to get one of my votes. The B Sharps, who are finalists again. How they lost to Bleeding Gums Murphy, I'll never understand, but I don't have to.
Bleeding Gum Murphy's a very popular character from the early days of The Simpsons.
He was never popular. It's like Marvin Monroe.
Yeah.
The Partridge Family, another massively successful in the well, much more successful. How successful could they have really been when they never really seemed to play outside of California?
Good question. I don't know. It's a big state.
Yeah, well, that is a big state. And the School of Rock, which Jack Black, dual, not the first double inductee. That makes sense to me because he's already in with Tenacious.
Yeah, and it's
D.
all with Tenacious D. It's also the only one of these bands that has franchises all over the country.
Yeah. Didn't they make musicals out of this shit or something?
They did, but there's a school of rock in my town. Like the kids go to the school of rock. There's one in Barrington.
Okay.
Yeah, they have places where the kids can go and play, like all over the place. There's schools of rock all over the country. See how many schools of rock are there? How many schools of rock there in U.S.? 217.
Jesus. I didn't know.
In the U.S., 5 in Mexico, 6 in Canada, 25 in Brazil, 4 in Australia, 1 in the Philippines, 5 in Chile, 1 in Peru, 1 in South Africa, 1 in Spain. So that's 11, 36, 41, 2, 3, 4, 49, and 217 is 250, 266. So I have 266 schools of rock worldwide.
Look at that.
Including one in my hometown. No, not my hometown. My town I live in now.
In Schaumburg.
Schaumburg, yeah.
All right. And now we've got, well, this is really interesting to me. The contributors. I thought this was going to go a completely different way. Some of these people I thought would be here. Some I sure as hell did not. Alexandra Cabot from Josie and the Pussycats. Well, she's not very nice, but I guess we all sort of can, well, some of us can identify with this lady. So she's a nominee. I never saw this one coming. Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
A one-off sketch where he needs more cowbell. We're not talking about the guy who played the cowbell. We're talking about the producer. All right.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Yeah, that's back when Saturday Night Live actually was funny.
It's funny from time to time.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah. Another shock to me. Burton Mercer. John Candy nominated in both of these. And he was just the cop who wanted to hear them sing. They're the Blues Brothers play. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm surprised Tom Hanks's character from The Oneaters is in here.
Yeah, there's a lot that sort of surprised me. Colonel Homer Simpson. It's based on how everyone loves The Simpsons. Not a surprise here. And he took Lurleen Lumpkin to, well, was it Yeehaw? I think the name was the show.
I don't remember. I remember the episode. I remember that where he took it though.
Yeah, and now in alphabetical order, yodeling Zeke. Orville and Hurley, big shirtless Ron. Why do I remember this?
That's a lot.
Yeah. Someone from the Blues Brothers who should be here. Curtis. He taught the Blues Brothers how to be cool. I get this.
Yep, I got that.
Played by the late great Cab Calloway. Dr. Johnny Fever.
100% should be here.
I thought he was going to rock it through. He barely squeaked by.
No, we'll take care of that. He's here.
Yeah. Ramona Flowers. Well, I mean, if you're gonna have a muse, this is a pretty big one.
She's pretty much the ultimate muse from a movie about music. Can you think of a bigger one? Maybe Stillwater. What's her name from Stillwater?
Yeah. Penny Lane.
I can't think. Yeah. But like, Ramona Flowers is as good a muse as there possibly was. So,
from Bill and Ted, Rufus. I could see this getting through just because it's George Carlin. Yep. And the ones that got the most votes, Wayne and Garth.
Excellent.
Yeah, put together because, well, you kind of have to.
Yeah, of course. Agreed.
So, vote on these.
I think that the bottom 5, Curtis, Dr. Johnny Fever, Ramona Flowers, Rufus, and Wayne and Garth are where we're going to get whoever gets in. It's going to come out of that group of 5. I don't think the first 4, unless people are really into Bruce Dickinson, I don't think those first 4 are going to make it through. So who knows?
Wouldn't surprise me though.
True.
It wouldn't surprise me. Burton Mercer, I don't know. That's the strangest one to me, but hey, that's
We're gonna get Burton Mercer and Buckaroo Banzai in the same one.
why not?
Why not?
Hey, it's for everyone all there to vote. So I've done my shameless plugs. We're done, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So with that, everyone stay safe. Check us out, notinhalloffame.com. There's so much there. The Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I do shows. Sometimes I'm entertaining. Mostly I'm not. But people seem to come back. Don't they? Maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Gluttons for punishment.
Absolutely. Stay safe, everyone.
Take care, guys.